This is my version of the ultimate omelet. The ingredients are pretty simple. A little butter, eggs, tomato, fresh basil, and chèvre goat cheese, salt and pepper to taste. Here are all the raw ingredients assembled along with the utensils, with the exception of a good pan. And a good omelet pan is essential. First thing we need to do is assemble all the ingredients. I like to prepare the basil with a pair of scissors. It's easier than a knife. Then slice the tomatoes. So here are some great looking tomatoes, and that is the key to this dish. So I've got my basil and I've got my tomatoes, and now I just need some cheese. So next we need to slice the chèvre, our goat cheese, which doesn't like to be sliced very much. It just kind of breaks up. But now we have our whole assemblage of what we need to make our omelet. Except, of course, the eggs. Gotta crack a few eggs if you want to make an omelet. Okay, so now we have our pan. All of our ingredients are eggs, and everything is close together. And this is important because everything happens fast once you start cooking. Heat the pan to a medium-low temperature. Some people say medium, but that's if you want a really fluffy omelet. I think for this kind of omelet, it should be more of like a crepe sort of texture. So I always do it on medium-low. Anyway, melt about a half teaspoon or half a tablespoon of butter. Pour in the egg. You need to let the egg sit for a while and actually set. So I usually let it set for maybe almost up to a minute. You have to look around the edges to see if it's cooked all the way through. Once it's set enough that you can manipulate it a little bit, you need to lift up the edges and tilt the pan and let the runny part go into the pan like this. So I'm lifting up the edges and letting some of the runny egg run underneath it. This is the hard part about omelets, by the way. Even Martha Stewart will tell you this. So I'm smoothing out some of the edges. Sometimes you'll get some holes in the middle where you'll want to fill them in. And now I'm getting ready to do the really tricky part, which is the flip. So I actually usually pick it up with my fingers on the edge and get my big spatula underneath, and you have to get it all the way underneath into the middle. And you guys are going to miss the flip because it's so quick the camera didn't catch it, but here we are with it already flipped over. So now's when everything has to happen pretty fast, because an omelet will get really rubbery very fast after this. I'm starting to put the cheese on. The cheese has to go down first because it needs to melt, so it needs to be closest to the heat. Here we have the cheese. I'm starting to put on the tomatoes. Here's the whole tomato layer. Here's all the basil. Then we need to flip the top over like this. And there we have our omelet. And now we're going to put it on a plate. Maybe put some garnish on it because we're on TV, sort of. And whoops, this is our 3-egg omelet. So I was making 2 omelets, one for my husband, one for myself. This is the 3-egg omelet, and here's my 2-egg omelet, which shows it off a little bit better because it's not quite as thick. And you can see all those wonderful flavors coming together, the tomatoes and the basil and the goat cheese and the eggs. And all our ingredients are gone. And that's it. That's the ultimate omelet.